G'day there guys, Marky here, and welcome back to another episode of r/relationship advice. Hope you're having a good day, and with that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the barbie, and let's get right into it. Posted by a throwaway account titled, "Am I the arsehole for forcing my stepdaughter to pay me back after she ruined my house?" I, 43 female, and my husband, 47 male, have been married for 4 years now. We both have children from our previous marriages, 12 male and 10 male, and 18 female. My husband and I dated for 3 years prior to getting married, but moved in altogether 2 years ago. Lives with us full-time, and we had a bit of a rocky start with mine and O's relationship, but we managed to push through it. I told from day one that I wasn't her mum, but if there was anything that she wants to talk about or needs, she can come to me. After a few months, we became quite close, and she talked to me about anything she was too embarrassed to talk about with her dad. Recently, has been trying to make friends at college since she just started in the spring. On-campus residence is very expensive for the college, and it's close to our house, so decided to stay at home. That's not a problem. The problem is that keeps bringing her friends over to hang out, but leaving it a mess. Normally, it's not a major deal. I have OCD, so sometimes there is issues depending on the situation though, because she picks up after herself. But I recently hired a housekeeper to clean the house once a week, since I've been working overtime more often, and me and my husband just don't have time. It's expensive, but I cannot stand it when it becomes too messy for me, so I think it's worth it. This time she brought her friends over after the house was cleaned, and I guess they decided not to take their shoes off, and walked all around the house leaving footprints. They also made pizza from scratch and left the crumbles on the counters, among other things. They pretty much made the entire house filthy before I could even come home. Once again, the cleaning service is quite expensive because I like a higher level of cleaning quality, so I was pissed. My husband is trying to make me let it go because has always struggled making friends, but I can't let it go because of how much it cost. I requested the exact amount I paid for the cleaning service to her Venmo, and she acted all confused on why she had to pay for it. I explained that her and her friends ruined my house that was just cleaned, but she insisted that it wasn't. I have a Ring camera, and I have video proof of her and her friends going into the house, and they were the only ones home that day before me. I gave her 2 choices, pay for the damages, or I stop paying for her phone. She's complaining, saying that it wasn't her, and she doesn't have the money to pay the phone bill. Am I the arsehole? Edit to clear confusion, the cleaners came before fully cleaned the house, and then left, and an hour later, came in with her friends. OP, I can somewhat see where you're coming from, but I honestly think that you're overreacting. I promise you, my opinion here is not detracting at all from the OCD. I'm very much aware that you have that, as you stated. But it's not like they went full-on Cat in the Hat and started just absolutely tearing apart the house. That I would be on your side with. You are framing this the wrong way. You're framing it as though they went full-on Cat in the Hat and destroyed the house. I think this situation would be reasonable if you told her just to clean up after herself and her friends, not demand that she pay you back for this. I feel like that's ludicrous. So I feel like you're overreacting and you're the asshole in this situation. In the comments, 12 Days Late says, "Footprints in your house and pizza crumbs do not make a house filthy. You had plenty of other options than charging your daughter. You could have cleaned it, your husband could have, you could have asked her to clean it, etc. You're the asshole. Telling your daughter that she ruined your house is a surefire way to ruin your relationship with her. Yeah, this is outrageously unreasonable. I have OCD. I'm genuinely baffled that OP felt that it was anything other than manipulative to refer to footprints and crumbs as damage. I thought this was going to be about some house party where furniture was destroyed and items were stolen. OP should consider therapy. This is some monk-level insanity. I'm with you. I was waiting for they made pizza but then went outside drinking and the kitchen caught on fire and it'll cause $30,000 to fix. Crumbs? As in wipeable off-the-counter crumbs? I'm with you. She needs therapy, and ASAP. This is an unlivable situation for everyone. I literally had to go back after I first read the post because I was like, wait, what am I missing here? I always ask people to remove their shoes before entering my house if they don't mind. Never for a delivery guy or anything like that. I'm not a monster. And lots of people prefer not to, so I get that. But there is yet to be a shoe print that my Swiffer or vacuum couldn't erase in seconds. And I'm still laughing every time I see the word crumbs mentioned on here. Like, how is this even something that someone is legitimately upset about? Mr. Nathan Pride asks, Info. I understand that you have OCD, not judging you for that. However, wouldn't a better solution be have O clean up the mess? It was footprints and crumbs. Seems like an easy clean. And OP replies, I do agree that would have been better, but O doesn't have the same level of the cleaning service, so I would most likely have to redo it until it's finally clean for my liking. It sounds like your cleanliness standards are extreme. Are you seeking help for your OCD? OP replies, I am. It has been helping, but I definitely still need more time to fully figure out how to manage it. Well, I'm glad to hear that you're getting help, but sending your stepdaughter a Venmo bill is not an appropriate way to handle this. Your OCD is not your fault, and I'm sorry you're going through this. But I promise you are going to do harm to your relationship with O if you keep behaving this way. Footprints and some crumbs shouldn't take more than 5 to 10 minutes to clean up. It isn't her fault, but it is her responsibility to manage and not take out on other people. It can be crippling. One of my kids wanted to burn himself when he saw hot things. He also has OCD. It was terrifying when he told me. I don't think that she is taking any responsibility for her OCD. Here are some other comments from OP. I'm not usually the one to discipline her because I'm not her mum, and I think that would be crossing a bit of a boundary with her dad and me. She probably didn't expect a potential consequence because of my lack of discipline with her. I think visible shoe prints are filthy, which is why there is a no shoes in the house rule put into place that I set up when we first all moved in together. Also, it's considered very rude in my country to walk around someone else's house with shoes. I do understand that she's a teenager, but she is 18 and is a legal adult, so I treat her like one. I should have clarified this, but I did put a rule that people can't wear shoes in the house because it's so unsanitary, and there's 10 times more cleaning when there's outside shoes inside. I was raised with very strict cleaning standards, so in my books, crumbs and visible footprints are filthy to me. The whole reason I pay for the cleaning service is because I've been spending more time at work, and my husband has a long work schedule, so we don't have any time to do the cleaning ourselves. It's considered very, very rude in my country to walk around someone else's house with their shoes on, and it was snowing that day, so water stains were left where they stepped. After reading these comments, I do realize my standards may have been put too high, but cleaning up after yourself isn't anything new in our house, and everybody is expected to do their share as well as any messes they make themselves. I couldn't even see the house I paid money to be cleaned before it was already dirty though. And now, onto the update. As I write this, I'm still getting comments on the original post. Thank you for all those who have commented, but I do want to ask that some users please tone down things that they're saying about myself and my OCD. I don't appreciate people trying to say that I'm financially abusing my stepdaughter. I understand that most are upset at me, but please don't comment that I should be institutionalized because I've been getting comments and messages along those lines. This morning, I asked Olivia to have a sit-down with me and to fully discuss how we both felt about my reaction, as well as how we are still feeling. Olivia was quite upset at me because she's been trying so hard to make friends, and she feels like I'm trying to discourage her from making them. We also talked about the house and the bill situation. I told her that I apologize. I overreacted, and I said things in the heat of the moment, but I would like her to clean up after herself in the future. She doesn't have to cover the cleaning bill, and I will continue to pay for her phone bill. As for my OCD, many of you felt the need to tell me that I am terrorizing my entire household and should pay for therapy instead of a cleaning service. I've been getting help for my OCD, but this situation made me realize I need to work more on it and managing it. I have also been getting comments that my stress may be caused by working overtime, and I've put a request in for fewer hours, as well as I've been looking for a possible vacation for all 5 of us, since a few suggested that that may help. In the comments, Aves Thasnos Sleeve says, I don't know. While OP may have impossible standards, Olivia still needs to step up and clean up after herself and her friends, and reinforce the no shoes rule. I can't really see that anyone is horrible here, and while OP is taking steps to work on her OCD, I sure didn't see Olivia own up to anything. But I doubt this is household warring worthy. I can see how, if you are an average teenage messiness, and an adult comes in and says that even the most minor crumbs is completely filthy, and probably has an excessive reaction, then you just might develop a screw it, why even bother attitude. Well, this can happen for sure. My dad's ex-girlfriend, who he dated for a few years, lived with us and was absolutely militant about cleaning. She once had a meltdown because my sister and I cleaned the kitchen but left one dirty spoon in the sink. Sometimes my sister wouldn't bother with any of her chores if she only had time for 1/3 because she would get yelled at either way. This all hinges on what the mess was. Mud tracked everywhere and food strewn all over the kitchen. I'd be on OP's side, at least for personal responsibility and cleaning up your own mess. A few scuffs on the floor and crumbs on the counter? That's normal home use, and you can't hermetically seal your home between cleanings. I could see it being either way, plus a hearty F you to everyone making light of OCD or treating it as lock her up and throw away the key material. As a Canadian, the wearing of outdoor shoes inside the house just blows my mind. I would have lost it too. I'm Canadian engaged to a Texan. Over the winter, we got into a heated fight because I kept telling him to take his shoes off. Stepping in a puddle in hosiery when you're in a hurry is a morning ruiner. He's sweet though and tries hard. Don't you just love it when a random group of anonymous internet strangers decide to dogpile on one woman who has come to air her grievances and say, hey, help me out please, what's going on? And those internet strangers go, you have OCD, you need to be institutionalized. Why do people feel the need to say that? Like, my comment on the OCD was, I understand that and I respect that you do have OCD. I don't want to step over any boundaries here. I guess I may have been harsh with my critique before. But those people that said that, screw those people. Although it is very mature and very respectful of OP to have crossed that bridge with Olivia, communicated, and it's great that they're starting to mend their relationship and figure this all out. Anyway, guys, what did you think of this one down in the comments below? I'd love to know your opinions. Our next post is by user Throwaway Insane, titled, My wife won't let my dad hold my son when he is born, and the situation is getting worse. So me and my wife have been arguing over the past few days over who does and doesn't get to hold the baby when it's first born. Recently, my father and sister have been added to the list of who cannot. I have been disagreeing with the desire that my father can hold the baby within the first few hours, but she stands firm with her choice to keep him from doing so, and she now has her parents on her side. Her reasons are that it's for the baby's health, which I get. However, part of the reason is that my father is too weird and that he is dirty. I find this incredibly rude, and if I were to put myself in my father's shoes, I would want to hold my first grandson. Regardless of these reasons, her and my in-laws agree that my father and sister will not touch the baby until a few months later, and that I should agree and stop being stupid. In my gut, I feel it's wrong and unfair when my in-laws will be one of the first to hold my son. I'm the one who carries it. It's my choice, she excuses herself with, limiting the rights that I have as a father. My mother-in-law snapped at me, saying that I will never be able to see the child if we get a divorce, and that she will fight for it if this continues. Even my wife has agreed that if I don't tell my father that he cannot hold my son the day of his birth, she will refuse to let me know when the time comes if I am at work. This destroyed me. All I wished for was an amount of fairness, as I should exercise my right as a soon-to-be dad. I have been called immature, rude, and selfish because of this entire ordeal, and I just don't understand. I respect my wife and her choices, but I feel like there is a lack of respect for not only me, but also my father. Am I wrong? Edit, my dad has asked her for a picture of the ultrasound, and she refuses to let him see it. I'm at the end of my rope with her. In the comments, Lynn says, What the hell? This sounds like you and your wife need counseling. Badly. The problems you have now are going to get 1,000 times worse when you have a baby. Yup, babies magnify whatever environment they are born into. And the mother-in-law sounds batshit effing crazy. Where did the divorce talk come from? If you feel that you and your wife are in a good place, it means the mother-in-law has been pushing towards or kicking you out, I don't know. If you are not in a good place with the missus, then your wife has been talking about it with her mum and she let it slip. Look, I'm not trying to spread paranoia, but my buddy just got blindsided by this postpartum depression/bipolar wife whose mother had been talking crap about my buddy for years. It might be nothing, but seriously, just pay attention. Good luck. Unless your father has an incurable, fairly easy transmittable disease, there is no risk to your baby. Your wife and her parents sound like the sick, dirty people, in my opinion. If they are already threatening to dissolve the marriage and take the kid unless you give in to their insane demands, then you've already lost. I'd head over to r/legal advice. OP replies, his house is cluttered, but he certainly does not have anything comparable to rabies or HIV. He's a clean guy. Ellen M83 says, I'm working on the premise that before the pregnancy, your wife wasn't a cruel, controlling hag. If she was a bridezilla prior to this, you're on your own. Either the protective hormones are clouding her judgment, or her own parents are trying to keep her and the baby while excluding you from the picture. Listen to yourself. You're asking if you're wrong while your mother-in-law is threatening you with divorce and keeping your child away from you. Your in-laws have absolutely no place in all of this. Get these people out of your house, get your wife to a therapist, and deal with this now before the baby is born. Your wife is being alienated from your family. The next step will be distancing her from you. You need to get your wife into therapy immediately. There is a disgusting power play going on here. Sit her down and demand to know what is going on. And now, on to the update. So I decided to put my foot down and allow my dad to see a picture of the ultrasound. And my wife went batshit crazy. She started shaking and pleading with me not to send him a photo. I refused and tried to state my reasons that I had a right, and so did he. I was close to taking the picture when my wife starts to punch me in the back and grabbing my arm to take the photos away, calling her mum in the process. She puts it on speaker, and my mother-in-law orders me to respect her wishes, and that if I don't, she can get me in legal trouble and jailed. It finally got out that my wife hates my father because of the things he did to me when I was little. I was abused as a child, and that he is too weird for her to associate with. I refused to give in, and politely told her that my father had rights to see the ultrasound, and that she, the mother-in-law, did not need to be a part of the argument. I get an earful from the both of them, stating that it is her body and she calls the shots. All I did was provide the sperm, and I do nothing for the baby. I continue to try, but my wife won't let go of my arm, and calling me names that I break down, and I slam the pictures on the desk, saying a few choice words, which was stupid on my part, and leaving to cool off outside. I come back in, and she's telling me that she wants a divorce, and that it's no longer my problem, that I won't be coming to the hospital and seeing the baby. Her father is also reasoning with my wife, saying that every ultrasound is the same. You see one and you've seen it all, and that I'm not respecting her nor the baby. They want me to give in and let her have her way. I'm sitting in an empty room now, devoid of all of her belongings, and thinking dark thoughts that I can't shake. I don't think there is any way to mend this problem, as she refuses counseling because she doesn't want to talk about her problems to a stranger, and giving up entirely. Something I don't want to do is the only way. Edit. The details concerning my father and his abuse towards me was that he, and my mother, who is not alive anymore, were physical and emotionally abusive for almost 7 years of my life. It reached the point where they got a divorce, and in order for him to see us, he had to go through counseling and major anger management therapy. It stopped after that, and to this day he has shown no signs of abusive behavior. He's a changed man, but I wouldn't let him take care of my son for longer than a day. However, I still believe a relationship with my child and his grandfather is necessary. In the comments, Aromatic says, can't tell if the wife is unhinged and suffering some kind of major PPA, the husband is delusional, and his father has done something truly heinous to elicit this behavior, or possibly both. Either way, there are some real red flags in this situation, and I feel incredibly sorry for the baby. Honestly, reading this story bummed me the hell out, because that innocent little bean is going to come into some real chaos in the world. Once again, holy crap. Do people even talk about stuff before marriage, or before the baby arrives? Granted, we don't know all the facts in this OP's posts, but just in general, it feels like so many couples I've known just think they can wing it without any talks about deep stuff. My fiancé's mother is absolutely horrible. She's been emotionally abusive towards him his whole life. nonchalantly tells him that she'd have had an abortion if she'd found out she was pregnant with him sooner, and is currently in a relationship with a sex offender who videoed a 16-year-old in the bath, which he got done for, and also most likely my fiance's sister and possibly me. Oh, God, I hate that. We don't really talk to her, and we've had lengthy conversations about her not having any sort of contact with any potential children that we may have. Maid Assassin says, this was not the way to confront someone who suffered abuse. She wanted to keep his abusive father away so badly that she resorted to physical abuse? I'm at a loss here. The minute she put her hands on him, her parents should have intervened on his behalf. He needs help, and she needs to keep her hands to herself. You can't tell your spouse that your father should be kept away due to physical abuse when your response is to punch them. What the hell? Yeah, I don't like your father because he abused you, so let me slap you and threaten divorce now so you understand, is some unhinged behavior. Let's call it like it is. That is abusive behavior. I've been in this situation before. I grew up in a home where my stepdad would beat me and my mum, so I've always had a hard line on domestic violence. The day I left my now ex-wife, she kicked me in the chest, threw a whole-ass baby gate at me, etc. This was over my line. I grabbed my keys and shoes, shaking, and drove to a nearby park and called her parents, who up to that point loved me. I let them know that she got physical with me and somebody needed to come get her. First thing her mum did was accuse me of being the abuser, which, given my history, I lost it at the audacity of this woman. Narcissists that raise narcissists will never take the morally correct side against their child. It's an admission of guilt that their kid is the problem, and that's not a thing that they can reconcile. Well, that was really messy, but I don't know what to say about this. I feel like there was a lot of context missing in this situation. It did honestly feel very one-sided from the OP's perspective, and I would have loved to get some more history and sides to what is going on with that basket case of a dumpster fire. I digress. I would love to know what you guys think of this one down in the comments below. Let me know. Our next post is by user extension marzipan86, titled, Am I the asshole for my husband missing his daughter's prom? I, 36 female, have been married to my husband Josh, 40, for 10 years. We have a 9-year-old daughter Lauren together, and my stepdaughter Riley is 18. About a year ago, I booked a vacation with my girlfriends for one of their bachelorette parties. It's this weekend in Tennessee. We leave Thursday and come back Monday. This weekend, Lauren has a cheerleading competition that Josh is taking her to. Lauren is required to have a guardian there the whole time, and she needs to arrive early Friday and leaving Sunday. We did ask the cheer director if a friend's mum could bring her and my husband could meet her thereafter, but they said no, and if she's not there for the check-in time, she can't compete that weekend. Riley's prom is on Friday. Riley did not have a junior prom, and her school only has a senior prom. We found out the date of prom after school started, and the trip had already been booked and paid for. My husband is now going to be missing Riley's prom to take Lauren to her competition. Riley thinks this is extremely unfair and that we're playing favorites since she'll never get this chance again and she wants pictures with her dad and sister. She's been messaging my husband about it. Lauren doesn't want to miss her competition and to risk her spot on her team. My husband asked if I'd cancel my trip and I told him no. The trip has been booked, paid for, and I also need a break. He takes breaks and trips as well. My husband and I are now fighting because he feels like no matter what he does, he's stuck. He's already told Lauren that he'll be taking her to the cheer comp, which means that he'll be missing prom. So am I the asshole? OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. I feel like I'm the asshole for not cancelling my trip when both girls have important events this weekend. I'm just going to swing out the gates and say no assholes here. I don't really think that anyone can be blamed for their actions here. Though you have pre-planned commitments that you can't cancel on, he already promised Lauren that he would help her out. As unfortunate as it is that Riley won't be able to get photos with everyone, that's just how life works out sometimes, unfortunately, and you're not a bad person for sticking to your guns in this instance. So yeah, I guess my judgment is no assholes here. In the comments, Brewerton Fat says, no assholes here. Whomever is organizing the cheerleader competition is the asshole. There is no reason they should restrict another member of the family from bringing her or simply allowing her to go with another parent and a permission slip. I don't think it has anything to do with the competition itself, but the coach/team. But yes, they are the asshole. Being devil's advocate, maybe the coach and team have had this before and something happened, which is why the answer is no to another parent taking the child. I'd guess it's the insurance liability. If a child gets hurt, they need someone who can make medical decisions. Competitive cheer looks dangerous. I'm just speculating though. No assholes here. I hope Riley has an otherwise good relationship with her dad and Lauren. She will eventually understand, in my honest opinion. Yeah, this is 100% safeguarding, and cheer has had issues similar to gymnastics, abuse of minors by coaches. Mandating parental and legal guardian attendance has become really common in traveling for competitions for kids. Sadly, if they're competitive to a high level, that travel is constant. It's genuinely a selecting factor redevelopment of competitive athletes. They have to have parents who can afford to travel frequently. Generally, that's easiest for wealthy, non-blended families with a stay-at-home parent. No assholes here, but poor Riley. It's understandable that she feels upset, even if it isn't anyone's fault but bad timing. I'd take care if I were her dad to jump some hoops to make it up to her though. Can tell you from personal experience that the feeling of abandonment when your parent chooses their younger half-sibling over them is real, and you don't forget it easily. Nor is it something that can be reasoned with often. It leads to long-running resentment. Right? So basically, we're restricting certain sports to families wealthy enough and stable enough for one parent to be available all the time. So like no one where one parent works shift work, has 2 kids, or doesn't have enough money to drop work at a moment's notice. That's seriously effed up. Madtown Mitch says, "You're the asshole, as is your husband. Prom happens once. Your 9-year-old has plenty of cheerleading competitions. The focus should be the once-in-a-lifetime deal. No wonder your stepdaughter is totally pissed. Do better." Edit to add, I'm a divorce attorney and former therapist. I know and deal with these dynamics on the daily. Riley is obviously upset, or the stepmom would not have posted. Note that Riley appears to have gone through her parents' divorce at about the same age as her stepsister is now, maybe a bit younger. Many communities and cultures have a significant tradition of parental involvement in prom, even if it is just photos. If anyone thinks this is the first time Riley felt replaced or cast aside by dad and stepmom, you are not living in reality. It's not the actual act of the photos and prom that is the issue, it is the symbolism and very real pain of an 18-year-old girl. This is a wild take. Prom happens once. It doesn't. She's not missing prom. He's missing a 2-minute photo op before prom for pictures that will almost never be looked at again. Most of the people at my prom couldn't wait to get away from their parents and on with the night. In fact, pictures will still be taken. He's not giving her away at a wedding. There is no father-daughter aspect to a prom. That is barely a blip on the radar of what prom itself is, let alone the rest of one's life, and she will even have one parent there. People here are acting like it's a wedding that he's missing. Riley will be absolutely fine. She's just not getting her way and making a big deal about something that is barely an issue. If dad had to work, would she be upset about him not being there? And now, onto the update. I have decided to stand my ground that I will not be cancelling my trip. I will be getting on the plane in the morning. Josh just sat me down with Riley and Lauren to talk about the weekend. He explained he'll be taking Lauren to her competition while Riley's mother takes pictures with her at prom. He said he taught the girls about commitment and he's not going to have Lauren's absence have the team forfeit. He told her that we could do pictures if she wanted to put her dress on a second time, but she said that it won't be the same and that she's upset. Riley's upset with her father and thinks he's favoring Lauren. And that's where I'm going to end today's story, guys. I'm still on the side of no assholes here for this one. I personally don't see what the big deal with prom photos is. I don't remember any of the photos that I took when I had formal. So my bias in this situation is, big deal, Riley. It's not that deep. Maybe it is deep for Riley, but Christ, it's some photos before formal. Anyway, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.